Welcome to Jimbo's Garage.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to Jimbo's Garage. Well, today's project, I'm going to be making a handrail for the trailer outside here. I've got about 3 steps up in. It would be really nice to be able to have a handrail for that. But it's not going to be just an ordinary handrail. It's going to be fancy. We're going to be using some decor left over from a project I recently did. So let me go out and show you where it's going, and then we'll go over that material and get started on today's project. Today's video is sponsored by King Metals. They've got all your fabrication needs in one location. From hinges to hardware, balusters to metal decor, brass to aluminum, and a whole lot more. You name it, they've got it. Check them out today at kingmetals.com. Now let's get back to today's video. All right, so here it is right here. This is the door into the trailer, and here's a couple steps right here. I'm just going to put this handrail right here. It won't be very long, probably about 36 inches long, and it'll be about 36 inches tall. So a good little handrail to help get into the trailer right here. Let's get started. Okay, so here's the stuff that we're going to be using for this particular handrail. I've got some 1¼ inch solid square bar stock right here. I've got 3 pieces. We're actually going to have to cut and weld an extension on. I need one tall leg that's probably about 5 feet tall. These are 4-foot pieces. We've got some shoes that'll go on the very bottom. They will be anchoring to the ground with some plates. And then we're going to be using some cap mold like this. And then we've got some volutes right here, matching detail that we'll weld on either side. And of course, we got these fancy balusters right here that we'll put in the middle as the pickets. So I think that covers everything. Let's get started today's project. The first thing I want to do is establish the height and the length of the handrail. Typically, most handrails are between 36 and 42 inches. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this top step right here, and I'm going to measure 42 inches, which in this case is right in the middle of this handle right here. So what I'm going to do is go 42 is there, then I'm going to the ground, and I'm coming up, and I need a post here at 5 feet. And then I'm going to come out about 32 inches right here. That'll get the handrail starting right here. I think that's a good distance. And of course, this post, I'm going to make it 41, allow for the plate on the bottom, the shoe, and the handrail on the top. That should get me out at 42 inches. So I need one post at 41, the other one at 5 feet. And then we can just build it from there. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so we're getting started here by cutting some 1¼ inch solid square bar stock using the Evolution saw and the Champion cutting tool blade. Works really good cutting right through this solid bar stock. You can see that there's no problems at all doing that. Now we're using solid bar stock because this is some material I had left over from a project. You probably could use a square tube as well. It might end up being a little bit lighter. This right here is the 1 inch, or the 1 foot piece rather, and then the 4 foot piece, and then I'm over to the Burr King, and I'm beveling a 45 all the way around on both pieces so I can get proper penetration when I weld the two together. All right, over to the welding table, got my table dogs up, and that keeps everything in a straight line, and the armor fixture clamps holds everything flat to the table to keep everything nice and flat. And there's the bevel, and then I'll just go ahead and fill well in all the way around and end up filling that in really nice. A couple spots were a little bit high, and then I just took a grinder to grind that down flat, so when I flipped the bar over to the other side, it stayed nice and flat to the welding table, and I was able to fill in that last piece right there. Got everything done, and then I just took a flap disc and just ground everything nice and flat all the way around to be sure it was nice and smooth. And once this thing gets primer and paint on it, you'll never know that this bar was extended. All right, time for assembly right here. So I got both legs done, the 5-foot leg and the 41-inch leg. And this is what I was talking about right here. This is a 3-inch square piece of 3/16 flat stock with 3/8 holes in it all the way around, and that's what's going to adapt to the shoe that goes around there. You'll see that in just a minute right here, and you can see that shoe just fits over the top. A nice clean application. This looks really good. You can't see the attaching bolts when you attach it to wherever you're attaching it to, and it's just a good clean look. I like that. Got that done on both of these. Same process, and then it's ready to start assembling. I ran them off the end of the table right here, did my measurements, got everything spaced nice and square. And it's time for the cap mold right here. I decided to go with an end cap on one side and the volute on the other side. I think for the application that I had, this is going to work the best. The end cap's going to go up against the trailer, and of course the volute on the bottom of the handrail. I had to cut it to the right dimension here. In this case, I believe it was about 27 inches. And then I'm just going to fasten it right down. And the matching detail for this cap mold, you know, there's all kinds of different pieces they have for this decor pieces, decorative pieces, lamb's tongue, all kinds of different pieces that adapt to this 2 1/4 inch cap mold. All right, I'm just going to weld it all the way around, and when I get everything welded all the way around, it's time to get this 1.5 by 1/8 inch flat bar stock cut to the right length, and then that fits inside the detail on the inside. Now, this is what I was talking about. Got a fresh flap disc on there with some sharp edges, and I'm able to get the detail ground out on this on the inside, so that flat bar stock fits right in that groove. And just like that, once it's in, clamp it all down, and then about every 6 inches apart, weld about 1 inch long, just enough to just hold everything together. And then an angle grinder, and kind of grind everything nice and smooth. When you put your hand around this handrail, you don't want to have any lumps, bumps, or sharp edges from welds or anything like that, as long as everything gets all ground down nice and smooth. You can see I cut in the detail right there with the grinder, and everything is back in there. And I'm going to weld this into place right now, as much as I can anyway, on the 3 sides. And then this is the bottom rail. Now I'm a little bit careful with the bottom rail. That shoe on the low side right there, I have to give myself enough room to lift that shoe up in order to get the drill in there to drill it to the concrete. So I'm up about 6 inches right there. In this case, I've got plenty of room to work with, and I thought 6 inches would be enough for me to get the drill in. And then this piece, it just fits right in there like that. All right, I'm going to weld all sides here. And obviously we're welding all the way around. I may not show it, but it does ultimately gets welded all the way around. All right, here's the balusters we're using. These are pretty attractive looking balusters, especially for the project I'm doing right here. I think it's a good look. Now I've got them spaced in there a little bit closer than normal. I think they're about 2 7/8 apart, 2 3/4 apart. I wanted them in there tight like that because I wanted them to look like they fit proportionally correct. All right, so I just do want to mention that this is the project that I'm doing, is a short handrail. If you have something longer, maybe 6 or 7 steps, and the same method applies on building this. It would just be longer. Or if you had a handrail that was maybe in a balcony or something, a flat handrail, the same method would apply. You'd have posts in there accordingly, and then balusters spaced no more than 4 inches apart from each other. Now that's the maximum, I believe. All right, so all this material is available at kingmetals.com. This is where I get all my material for my gates and my handrails. I'm fortunate to have a facility that's close by me, but also a lot of the stuff comes from the Dallas facility, and it's usually 2 days shipping. If you don't have one near you, a reminder that you can check them out on their online store, and usually it's They have everything that you need for anything in metal fabrication. It's pretty awesome, and generally in most cases 2-day delivery. Check them out at kingmetals.com. All right, so I'm just finishing up right here. I'm getting the spacing just where it needs to be. You know, one thing about this too I want to point out is when you're doing pickets or balusters like this, you'll want to be sure that you check your spacing and you check your square. In this case, you can see the holes in my welding table. I've got that to reference because these are on an angle. So I'm not only checking the measurement between, but I'm also be sure that I'm running square to the holes, because it's easy, even the straight handrails, it's easy to get off. And once it gets off, and you can lose 1/8 of an inch real quick, everything gets out of control. So be sure you're nice and square on your flat rail, and be sure you're lined up as a reference point on your angle pickets like this. All right, just finishing the welding and everything out right here. Yeah, I noticed this thing, like I said, I knew it was going to be heavy. When I flipped this thing over, man, I realized it right then and there that this was really heavy. But you know, it's a good look. It gives you that wrought iron look, rustic look, and you know, I think that really adds to the character to the piece. I'm just cleaning everything up with the angle grinder here, just getting all the welds that I can welded down nice and flat. Be sure that there's no BBs or anything that would be sticking up or in the way, or nothing you get your hand caught on the cap mold on the top. And then there it is, it's completed. And then a nice coat of red primer first, and let this sit for 24 hours. And then the next day, this is a coat of semi-gloss black for metal. And I'm gonna let that dry for 24 hours. And then the next day, it's the installation. And this is the first fit. That thing just fits right in there just like I was hoping it would, and lines up really nice. I'm really happy with that. And then you can see that this is how I'm attaching it. I'm drilling into the concrete using a 1/4 inch drill. And then I'm using some Hilti screw anchors. That's the way I fasten my gates to walls if it's concrete or block. And you can see here's a closer view. Just a 1/4 inch concrete drill, and this is 1/4 inch Hilti 1 7/8 screw anchor. They work really good. And of course, I got all the dust right here, but once I anchor everything down and you know, get my blowgun, blow everything out of the way, and get so that dust will be out of there. But you can see that that 6-inch spacing, lifting that thing up was barely enough to be able to get those the drill in there to drill this. All right, there it is. I got everything all cleaned up and touched up, and there it is. I'm really happy with that turned out. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. I hope you learned something from it. And be sure, and if you're looking for anything like this, to check them out at kingmetals.com for all your accessories for building some gates, handrails, and whatever. All right, guys, thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next video.
See you next time on Jimbo's Garage.